okay? These are pretty common cover lifts. One of my favorite, easy to work, easy to install, not much to it, okay? A couple of tools you'll need are two 9/16 wrenches, okay? Doesn't matter what kind you get, mine are little ratchet ones, okay? You'll also need a drill with a standard number 2 Phillips bit, okay? If you have an extension, it'll make it a little easier, or a long bit. Short bits are kind of hard to mount these brackets with, okay? Because they got this little hump right there. So, what I tell everybody to do is get everything prepped and ready to go, okay? These brackets, face them in opposite directions when you lay them down so you do not build the same one twice. This is a very, very common mistake for people who are especially first learning how to build these, okay? So go ahead and face these brackets opposite directions. Then you'll need this L-shaped bar, okay, with these little pads right here on the side, little knuckles. This will mount to the actual mounting bracket, okay? It's gonna be held on by a bolt, some washers, and nuts, okay? It comes with these little plugs that you can plug the top circle with, because these brackets are pretty universal, okay? So you can plug the top bracket on both of these. You can see we've already pre-assembled this one. This is the look we're trying to get right now, okay? So you're gonna take this big bolt that comes inside your bag, okay, with all your screws and pieces. You're gonna put one washer on top. You're gonna feed it through this little padded knuckle, okay? Oops, that piece came off. But feed it right through there. It goes onto the bottom hole, okay? So you'll stick it right in that bottom hole, okay? Sometimes it's a little stiff and hard to get through, but you can push it through. If it's a little stiff, okay, don't hammer it or anything crazy. You can get your 9/16 wrench and you can literally just thread it in the hole, okay? It needs to stick out the other side, okay? That's the look you're gonna get. Then you'll take your other washer, slide it over, and you'll close it off with a little nut that it comes with. It's a little lock nut, and you can put that on, okay? You'll then take both your 9/16 wrenches and tighten it from both sides to make sure it's secure. When you tighten it, that bolt head needs to at least come flush with this nut. It's okay if it sticks a little further out. Sometimes they do. It just depends on the actual mount itself, okay? So we'll go ahead and get this ready and go ahead and start tightening this down, all right? Okay, we got ours tight. We felt the room. It's a little stiff, not too loose, okay? And we know we got enough play in there, all right? This one will mount to one side of the spall. The other one will mount to the opposite end, okay? Now, this will mount right here. If you notice on this top spot, there's a little dip right here. You can usually feel this bump when you're going against a side slat on a spall, okay? You can really slide it back until it stops. This little circle typically comes either halfway or just slightly off-centered on these slats for most spalls, okay? Now, to size it up, you kind of need to know the measurement of your spall, okay? Because you have to have enough room to feed in the top bar, okay? On this specific unit, we don't mount it this high, okay? We're gonna mount it a little bit lower, all right, because it's a little shorter. So we're gonna go one little slat down, all right? I personally like to center it from top to bottom, okay? When you center it, it kind of like alleviates any kind of stress coming into this area, because typically when you have a synthetic siding, you can crack it, okay? This is more of a plastic synthetic siding, so we don't really have to worry as much, but I still like to get it pretty centered, okay? But if you were to mount it really close like this, on a more stiff synthetic siding, you will send a big crack across this thing, okay? And you could possibly chip a piece of the cabinet off, all right? So try to mount it as center possible. If you want to go higher, you can if your unit allows for it, all right? But I just like to go down here because I don't have to worry about cutting the bar, okay? That's another thing you have to be wary about when mounting a CoverMate 1. If it is a shorter spall, you need to come down lower, okay, to get some length right here, because if it's too high, you're gonna wind up having to cut either this bar or the big bar that sits in between here. Once we have both these mounted, we'll stand them up at a 90-degree angle, okay? One on this side, one on the other side. There's also another piece that is made up of 3 separate bars, okay? You got 2 more 90-degree bars. They have no knuckle or anything in them. The long piece is what goes across the top. That short bar is what slides into this bar right here. So we'll go ahead and prep that. When both of these are mounted, we'll get it and just stick it in the top, okay? It's gonna form a half square bar that lays over the top, okay? When you size this bar up, okay, you need to bring it close to this middle seam of your hot tub cover, all right? We will typically take this center bar and line it up on this stitch line, if you can see that, okay? Just like that, all right? And this is when it's already mounted inside of this. It'll look relatively close to this, okay? So we can go ahead and, see, it's gonna force me to mount it a little low on this one, but I like to get a little symmetrical look for aesthetic purposes, so I'll mount it down right there, okay? So we don't have to worry about cutting this length off or cutting some of this bar off because it'll go down too deep inside of there, okay? And then it'll be sticking out way over here. So that's why it's important to size this bracket appropriately for the length of your spa, all right? Go ahead and stop that video.